pastor, I'm the school teacher. I have one short story to tell you about Charlie Kirk, my friend. He became a friend of mine because I interrogated him one time. 19-year-olds are my specialty. I asked him some questions he couldn't answer, and he was already becoming famous. And I noticed his reaction. He said, "What should I do?" And I said, "Well, you have to suffer. If you want to grow, you have to suffer. It's hard to learn. Into the night, crack of dawn in the morning. Start with the Bible. Read the classics. Study the founding of America. In those places, you will find that there's a ladder that reaches up toward God. And at the bottom of it is the ordinary good things that are around us everywhere. If we can call them by their names, they have being. And the beings of the good things are figments of God. You will find that article in Aristotle. You will find it in the Bible. You will find it in Madison and Jefferson. How do I learn that? He said. And I said, you have to suffer. You have to study. You have to think. I thought I'd never hear from him again. Within a month, he got hold of my cell phone number and he texted me a copy of a certificate of completion of a Hillsdale College online course. He would go on to do that 31 times. I keep a list in my head of the 6 or 8 young people, and I'm very privileged. I get to know many inspiring young people who are the best I ever saw. Charlie is the only one who was never a full-time student at Hillsdale College who was on that list. We will miss him dearly. He can't be replaced. You know, a good thing is a thing that has being. An assassin is not a thing that has being. The assassin must give up his humanity to destroy something that has being. Charlie lives on. The assassin will die. My wife, who's here with me today, and I have set up a scholarship in the hope that Charlie's children will go to a good college. I have one in mind. And this May the 9th, Erica doesn't know this yet. We are going to give Charlie and Erica the greatest respect a college can give. An honorary degree. Charlie, you see, has suffered enough. He's gone to the Lord. He deserves his reward. Thank you.
Hey, now the CEO of Turning Point Action. You may know me from the Charlie Kirk Show or our weekly podcast, Thought Crime, with Charlie, Jack, Blake, and Andrew, but I'm also the longest tenured employee at Turning Point. I met my friend Charlie in 2014. We connected when Turning Point USA was just in its infancy, sharing the vision for what the conservative movement should be. Charlie was just a kid then. I was a little older. We had a lot in common. I didn't like rhinos. He didn't like rhinos. I was the youngest guy at Tea Party meetings. He was the youngest guy at Tea Party meetings. Charlie didn't go to college. I went to ASU, so I basically didn't go to college. You're welcome, Dr. Crow. We went to work every day on a 24-hour clock. When Charlie turned 21, he didn't have a home. Turning Point USA was in his first year of raising real money. He was just a kid to me. but donors would ask him where he lived, and he took personal offense to the suggestion he still lived in his parents' basement. Although his parents probably wanted him to be there all the time. He was a grown 21-year-old man after all. He was rarely home in Chicago. He lived on a plane and zipped back and forth as Turning Point USA became his life. All his personal mail came to a little detached garage at 217 and a half Illinois Street, whereas Charlie would constantly remind you, like every good startup, Turning Point USA was founded. So anyways, we worked 24/7. He would tell every supporter of ours, between me and him, we were a team that was never off the clock. Full coverage. I would usually stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning working on the next big Turning Point USA project and text Charlie reports of what our team that day had accomplished. It was like this every day. Work, report, and wait to see my text messages to Charlie flip from delivered to read as soon as he woke up on the East Coast so we can be firing away feedback, thoughts, and a flurry of brilliant Charlie Kirk ideas as soon as he opened his eyes. I'm not kidding you, this was every single day. And all it takes is two dudes to dream up big stuff and talk each other into really insane ideas, which Charlie and I did often to one another. We would go back and forth with those ideas, perfecting them, turning into bigger, more insane and impactful things, and of course, expensive concepts. The ideas literally never stopped. It was around-the-clock problem-solution chat that worked to dream big for the conservative movement. Come up with new ideas, plan new things, fix all problems. My job was to turn it into proposals and presentations, and voila, we would work to execute. Charlie would take red eyes from coast to coast, going all over the country like a crazy man on any and every possible donor, meeting with every possible donor who would take a meeting. So our idea of fixing for the conservative movement could help young people once and for all. I oftentimes would go with him and marvel at the deranged 22-year-old lifestyle of bathing in airport bathrooms, eating full plates of vegetables and meat at 10 p.m. at night after a long day's work. He was the best at doing all of it. Our success gave me the job of a lifetime, and I'm grateful for it for the rest of my life. I got really good at recruiting the best young talent in the country to come work for us, and it was nonstop. We were a hell of a team. And that's how it worked. Turning Point USA was built, and the Charlie Kirk vision was delivered. I had the special honor at Charlie and Erica's wedding to give a toast speech for Charlie, the groom. It was significantly less pressure than this room. An incredibly beautiful wedding, but small, an important room of people. I can admittedly say I didn't think that I would have to give another Charlie Kirk speech this soon. At his wedding, I told the story of talking Charlie into moving to Arizona. He was an adamant Chicago boy. I needed to break that. Selfishly, I wanted him to love Arizona because I had recently convinced him to move Turning Point USA to Arizona. It was a hard sell at first, and that was until I hosted the first Trump rally in Trump rally history right here in Arizona in 2015. I got a call from Miss Erica Kirk, Miss Arizona 2012. I just want to help, she said. So naturally, I put her right behind the president at that first rally. After that, we talked. It was obvious she was the perfect person for the job that Charlie and I had devised in one of our 24-hour planning sessions. I wanted to hire her. I only had one problem. Charlie Kirk wanted to date her. Long story short, I was very worried he was going to scare her off and screw it up. And I was going to lose this incredible prospect. Like all things he put his mind to, Charlie accomplished everything he put his mind to. They immediately fell in love, and I lost an employee. But now she's my boss. I'm sure you've heard. We love Erica Kirk. Over the years, we built a lot of things. The largest field operation in the conservative movement between high school, college, faith, and action. The first ever ballot chase operation that won the election for President Trump. The largest events in the conservative movement, most of which have been huge but in convention centers. In 2021, in the aftermath of COVID, we weren't sure if society was ever going to bounce back and ever get back to normal. So we began planning what was one of the crazy ideas known as America Fest. I hope you'll all be there this year. We decided to move it to swing state Arizona and hope and pray that this would work after the world shut down for so long. Charlie, like all our 24/7 ideas sessions, texted me and our VP of events, Laura Tonsich, late at night, and he showed us and said, "This is my vision." It was an image of a full stadium. A few seconds later, he sent these images of full stadiums of people, hoping for that to be a future Turning Point event. Well, Charlie, my friend, I'm happy to report we're standing in your vision. You did it, buddy. We love you. You were sitting in the vision for Charlie Kirk. God bless.
And that's time. Charlie lived only 31 years. Yet when I reflect on those years, I see more impact and more courage and more achievement than most men accomplish in a lifetime. I've known Charlie for a decade, and I'd like to share a little of what I learned from him. Charlie often said that having courage is one of the easiest things in the world because all it requires is you to say yes. Courage does not require talent. It does not require natural ability. Courage requires a personal decision. It's interesting that people often describe Charlie as completely fearless, but the truth is simpler and much more profound. Charlie simply refused to let fear stop him from carrying out God's will for him and his life. His courage was a daily choice, a yes, no matter the cost, and it cost him his life. This truth forced me to reflect on what we can't control: time. It's fleeting, it's fragile, and it's sacred. Charlie knew this better than anyone else. He didn't waste time. He lived every moment with conviction. He lived as a man of character and truth and courage, and he taught us not just through words, but through actions. Charlie was the same person in private as he was in public, and that's why we trusted him. That's why we loved him. That's why we all feel this loss so deeply. His honesty, his compassion, and his insistence on truth drew people in, even those who disagreed with him. Charlie stirred patriotism in us, but more deeply, he stirred our hunger to live united under God. He told us to stop and think, to use common sense, to grow up and pitch in. He asked us to hear the words that God wrote on our hearts: "I am the Lord your God, and you shall have no other gods before me." This is not a message of comfort or safety or peace. It's a message of love, a love of God's will. Charlie's life was anchored by that love. Every day he left his home, the comfort of it, his wife, his children, to face criticism and threats and angry mobs, and ultimately death. He loved God more than he loved safety or applause or even his own life. That's because the last 31 years weren't his career. They were his calling. Charlie's legacy is this: he showed us how to be better people. He gave voice to truth, and he followed God's will. He started with nothing more than an idea and a folding table. And over 13 years with time and courage and faith, he built a movement that changed the world. Now that Charlie's gone, what happens next? It's up to us. Time is fleeting, but the decisions we make here right now are eternal. So let us honor Charlie by doing what he did. Stand for truth, confront evil, live courageously, and we do it the way that Charlie did, with compassion, but never compromising on truth, demanding the best from ourselves, from each other, and from our country. Charlie reminded us that courage requires only a yes, and he said yes every single day. And now it's our turn. It's our turn to say yes, to speak boldly, to speak honestly, to fight for our families, to love our country, to honor God, and to wisely use the time that we've been given. And it's to do for the next generation what Charlie did for us. Because all of this, right here and right now, is our turning point. We love you, Charlie, and we won't let you down.
My name is Stacy Sheridan. 8 years ago, I met Charlie in a crowded ballroom in West Palm Beach at a David Horowitz Freedom Center event. We spoke briefly, we exchanged cards, and I thought nothing of it. What ultimately made me want to join Charlie's cause and Charlie's team, because he became
Thank you. It's wonderful to see so many people out here for such a sad but also a wonderful purpose. You know, we at American Cornerstone Institute grieve with everyone as we think about the loss of our friend and partner, Charlie Kirk. But did you hear a figure last week saying that Charlie Kirk was ignorant because he didn't have a college degree? I've seen him run circles around people with college degrees. You know, I wonder if that political figure realizes that most of learning in life comes outside of the classroom. And I am delighted to see the young people of our land merging with the older people like me and moving in the same direction and understanding that our nation was founded upon the kind of principles that allowed us to rise from nothing to the pinnacle of the world in record time. That was no accident. That was because of what we believed, including our Judeo-Christian beliefs, that our rights come from our Creator and not from government. Now, for many decades, there have been people who are trying to fundamentally change who we are. And there was a man by the name of Cleon Skousen who wrote a book called The Naked Communist in the 50s. And he exposed the things that were being done by the Marxists to gain control of our country. Such things as gaining control of the public education system and the teacher unions so that you could infiltrate and indoctrinate our young people. It was a radical leftist who said, give me your children to teach for 4 years, and the seed that I sow will never be uprooted. That's what's going on. They also had a goal of gaining control of the media and Hollywood so they could change the culture in America, making sexual perversion normal, natural, and healthy. And speaking of that, pushing God out of our society and changing the gospel to the social gospel. Have you noticed that a lot of preachers don't want to talk about what's in the Bible if it's counter to the social gospel? Well, I challenge the ministers out there to talk about what the Bible says and not what the leftists say. And get on board of the revival that is coming. We are not going to be able to stop it. And you see evidence of it right here in the stadium. We're all going to be a part of it. I love the fact that Erica is going to take over, and we're going to grow the turning point to a very significant level. And I want us all to remember, you cannot be the land of the free if you're not the home of the brave. You got to stand up for what you believe in. And in closing, I want to read a passage from John 12:24. Remembering that Charlie was shot at 12:24 p.m. Verily, verily, I say unto you, this is Christ speaking, except a corn of wheat fall onto the ground and die, it abideth alone. but if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. And I want to thank Charlie for his sacrifice because much fruit is going to be realized. Thank you.